Yo, all right. So I think I got the filter set up to where I can have the chest mic. So now, without any adult supervision, I'm going to hang the security camera. Where's me at? The weird thing about having the mic is that normally, whenever I'm working late, I walk around like a schizo and talk to myself. I'd be like, "Oh, screws! What did these come out of?" Need to open up the chats over here on this screen. Hey, I can see me. I need to add my logo to Twitch. Alright, I got shit running in the disk machine. Let's go get it. Oh, wait. ADHD. First things first. Put my micro cable back for testing controllers. Also, I hear all the time, vacuum wheel here. No cables mixed up, none. No cables jammed under desks. Here every day. Okay, I am here every day. All my controllers over there by the CRT, they're fine. I leave one weekend, rat's nest to controllers, rat's nest at my desk. Are they cursed? Did they do it for fun? Hey, you know it'd be great. Let's tie up all of Viking Will's cables into a knot. So whenever he needs his stuff and he moves it, everything falls apart and falls down. Wouldn't that be hilarious? I would hate to see the cable management of their homes. Alright, this needs a price tag. To do that, I need a price gun. The world will not survive unless there is a $5 price tag on this. Put them on the top right. There we go. $5 for a BMX color game that no one is going to buy unless they do it just to prove wrong. I hope they do. Facebook has closed captioning? That's kind of cool. A billion British bastards buying Babylon's bubble boba. Good luck, Facebook. Oh shit, it got it. Okay, cool. Alright. Try this at home if you want to, like, break a femur. Also, when climbing on the spinny chair, make sure you got your center of gravity over the spinny. Because it's like a super thin piece of junk on that middle post. It could literally break around both sides, and then you'd do a split straight down onto the post. Impaling yourself in your groin would lead misery and a name change, probably. That would be like an analog reassignment versus digital? Question mark. All right. A phone on the charger. These need to be processed. I bet you this GameCube game needs to be ran. Rampage. Be ran. Here your Sam collection. to be ran. And then Geist. Geist is okay. Oh, I go back and get my CDs. Then we're gonna run these, and we're gonna run some mess. I just wish like I had Metaglass. As much as I hate Mark Zuckerberg, I hate that. I do. Facebook has been a plague on humanity. A billion crimes committed, human trafficking and such. Meanwhile, he gets to live in a just be like, I have all the money and I sold all your data for AI. You gave it to me. You signed the agreement. And the governments let me. All the governments. Republican, Democrat, all of them. They were like, yeah, let's steal the data. Trick people into giving it to us. Even the grandmas, so they can share the memes. It's like, ain't no one knows my life or the decisions I've had to make. Yeah, we do, Brenda. Trying to check cat regularly. I like my own posts. Is that allowed? Brand new clean Tetris Plus on PS1. Getting ready to get inventoried. Time Crisis, a Namco game. Hope you got the pew pew for it. PlayStation 1 pew pew NCRT required. The Golden Nugget. I think they tore that hotel down. Not sure. Could have made the value of this go up. Crash Team Racing. What a wonderful experience. Resident Evil Nemesis, worst game in the lot right there. Probably ain't worth anything. Should just throw it away, you know. Why waste time? Games that aren't worth anything. Alright, all these are good, and it comes with this guitar. This guitar needs to be cleaned. Oh shit, I still got granola. The fat kid in me was just like, hey, yeah. I'm gonna get to eat something. I hope to God you can't hear my music. It is a little profane. The filter should be doing its job and you should not be hearing it, but if you can, I'm sorry. Here's a random complaint. To the person that sold me a Series X over the weekend. Series X had cockroaches in it. Get your house checked. That was an expensive mistake from my boy. But at least they bagged the system up till I could get a hold of it. So they get 10 points for procedure. They lose 10 points because, shoo, man, have to be desperate to buy a system bugs in it. They were all desiccated, so there's every chance in the world it was literally 2 homes ago. But there was a zero risk of infestation from it. Everything was dead, but it's still disgusting. So be careful. And if you have cockroaches in your home, do your best to protect your high end electronics. Keep them off the ground, keep them up high. They're probably still going to get in there. There's not much you can do about it. So get rid of the cockroaches in your home. Don't leave food laying around. Clean up. Buy traps, poison, baits. They cannibalize each other when they get overpopulated. So they got these really good gel poisons out there. You put it down, one gets in it, and then they go back, and then they all slowly die. Or just, I know times are tough, but if you've got cockroaches in your house, like, spend the money on the exterminator. Now, exterminators are a lot like health insurance. Most of them are a scam. They want you dependent on a subscription service and then make you have to pay if they come out because they did a bad job. But do it anyway. That's not a groovy bug to have in your home. Everybody that had them paid for an exterminator. Then eventually the invasive German species would leave this American. The tree fort. What is this? What the hell is this? Guess it's like a beginner learn to read book. What's it doing on my table? I can read, bro. I don't need your book. I've been reading university level since the 4th grade. Is it autism? I don't know. Probably. Ask me how I feel about trains. What's your favorite train? Alright, we're good. I went to go get the ladder and then I talked myself out of it. I'm gonna talk myself back into it. Oh. Big gun. Oh, why is the disc machine still not running? DVD, very light. Alright. Oh, I wish I did a lot of this earlier. That's okay. Those need to be cleaned physically. What to do with the pile of discs? Ta-da! That's so smart. Some, not all the time. Fly 2, Godfather, the game. This was a good lot. That lot. Yep. So I'm gonna make a confession right now. The disc machine is doing a GameCube game, and it scares the shit out of me. It makes noises that don't sound healthy. I'm like, please let no bad happen. That thing's expensive. And while I'm pretty good at fixing it, as is Mr. Fogelson, I don't want to have to. But while I'm in a mood to do GameCube, I need to check these. So this was a trade-in. There's like 14 trade-ins going on right now. Everybody's already been paid out. They received their monies. Okay. And they're in pretty good shape. Unfortunately, the GameCube that came with this lot was just destroyed. That makes me sad. So it needed a new optic drive. Everybody's going to be like, just adjust the potentiometer and lower the resistance and it'll work. And that's true. It will work. But then the unit will be completely fried and you'll have to replace it anyway. So I say when it starts to go out, instead of milking it to death, just go ahead and replace it. Secret Castle made a poster. They, I guess, dropped a meth making chemical in one of their things. And that's good comedy, okay? That's like a good thing to do. Like it was factual, it was well informed, probably got the breaking. But what's unsettling is the amount of people that were like, "I'll make a myth based on that," and maybe they also saw Breaking Bad, but still, at the same time, I'm just like, "Dang, people of Kentucky, got it bad." And trust me, like my hometown is on like the national registry of like the dudes that make the meth. If only we could do something like arrest them. That's not good for business. Got to keep that local economy going, I guess. I opened a pack of Darkness Ablaze today. I picked it up in trade. And I was like, we'll see if there's anything in there. There was nothing in there. It all goes in the junk cards. All right. I'm going to go queue up multiple GameCube games. And then I'm going to stay out of the back room because that noise. It's like a demon trying to eat my cookies. And I'm not okay with that. Demons should ask for cookies. They shouldn't take cookies. Wonder if I have any more. These for pucks. You can't see what I'm doing, so this is probably like confusing for you. But to make the GameCube discs emulate the size of a normal disc in the ELM, the fancy boy I've never tried to run 4 at a time before. The day. Also, what is this back boxing? Nobody wants it. Nobody wants the boxing game. Put that back in the disc machine. Luigi's Mansion and Double Dash will run on the ground you're going in. Double check the pucks. Load them in at a time. 1, 2. Why is there an open bottle of my isopropyl back here? Guys, life's hard, but it's not that hard. I really need to talk to my about being sober. 0-3 because I'm a coward. And here we go. Find the lid for this alcohol. And then this disc machine is doing its thing. Oh, meow, meow, meow. Alright, Rampage turned out brilliant. If you guys want to copy a Rampage for the GameCube, we've got one polished, shiny, new. Oh shit, I bought a copy of Animal Crossing for the GameCube, and I have a memory card. Price is going up, baby. Watch my greed happen in real time. Now this thing is kind of gross. So take a smidgen. That's a real measurement. I don't know what it means. Probably has something to do with powder. All right, and we're gonna clean the bullshit. You know what? Where this is an unknown substance, it could quite literally be bullshit. Like, not just a euphemism, but this could be the shit of a bull in the GameCube, and that would be cool. Why authenticity? That is the only reason. Yeah, this is not the best example. Hold on. Look right. See me? I can't reach that high. Anyway, this is the Animal Crossing memory card. Put it on my desk. Later, I will put it copy of Animal Crossing that I have to fetch out of. But one thing at a time. You guys like Steam Decks? I got a terabyte OLED for like 750, 800. And then I got the baby junk LCD Steam Deck for like 375. Come and buy it. Not available on the website. Yo. It's almost 11 o'clock. And that's shit to do. Here's another bottle of alcohol without a lid on it. This one's my fault, though. 100%. I was using this all day. Here we go. I was kind of a jerk today, but there was like big piles of like low end games. I feel like I was still nice, but just in reflection, I was just like, yeah, I kind of don't want them because I have a lot. I'll buy anything. You got to make sure the price is right. They were like, this amount? And I'm like, nah, that's too low. Let me give you a little more than that. But I feel like I set them up for them to lowball themselves, and that makes me feel bad. Scarface, The World Is Yours, PlayStation 2. I did not sell that in. I might have, though. Alright. Tony Hawk for a customer. Pokemon card sleeves. I'll mess with that later. All the money I spent today. I definitely spent more money than I earned in sales today. And some people would be like, oh no, that's bad. Oh no, that's good. Because Monday is a relatively slow day. And I'm glad that we were fortunate to get the sales that we did, but even more fortunate to get to purchase the stuff that we did. All right, so David Hatley running for governor and doing a meet and greet. The heart of downtown Elizabethton. The lady representing him today, she was a bit off. She was like, he's a local business owner. And I was like, well, which local business does he own? And she was like, something far away, but he's from here. And I'm like, okay, well, you've double speaked me once. And I'm sure it was just a misinterpretation of the way she presents information. But it was still funny. Like, local business owner. No, he's the business owner that's local. There's the comma in there. And I put that comma in there. I know you heard me. You done did heard me use the comma. Can't remember who asked, so I'm telling the world I got a bunch of DSPSP batteries today. So if you were someone who was needing one, come by and get that battery changed. Guys, I'm going to develop schizophrenia doing this. I'm like, yes, and to the world, I shall tell you all you wish to hear and all you need to know. Fun facts, there are words in my brain. They're called thoughts. And when I use motor skills and combine those thoughts with my lungs, diaphragm, tonsils, and tongue, lips, they do some shit too. I form words. And those words are a representation of information and intention designed by me for you, whether instruction, request, revision, entertainment, and yet there is no one talking back. I really feel like the guys at the gas station just walking around in the corner being like, yeah, and then Becky said to Bill, I'm like, who are you talking to, bro? Same thing. Live streaming without the chat is self-induced delusion. But I'm having a good time with it. All right. So I'm not tackling anything just yet. I know the next few things that I'm going to do 2000% what they are, but I'm waiting because this is a relatively quick process with the disc machine currently, and I would like to get this next little batch in so I could get it processed. In fact, I might as well just go all in and do them all together. I don't want to get my lots mixed up. Blu-ray, 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 Blu-ray. Running now. Blu-ray, that's all good. About 20 games, 30 games. Most of them need to be run. Oh, there's a cardboard box of Wii games somewhere. I cannot find it. I might have thrown them away. Like, not trying to be all cuckoo, but yeah, there's every chance in the world I threw that box of Wii games away. I mean, there was mostly dog shit in it, but I did pay money for it. I'd like to get some kind of return out of it, but I might have had a senior moment. Why do I hell stroke? Meant to say, why in the hell do I have King Griffey Jr. baseball in box for the Nintendo 60? No idea. There it is. This pile needs to be separate because we got it at the show. That pile was bought this morning. Good to go, good to go. Working on it now. Okay. All done. All right. Decisions must be made. Oh, shit. Achoo! Achoo! So sorry. Somebody ordered a 64 from my online store, and the 64 should have never made it to the online. But he's bought like 7 things from me. Uh, I might owe Riley some money. He- Okay, we're good. Wait, that wasn't it. Come on, we're good. Oh yeah, we hit it right on the money. I thought the backwards compatible PS3 today is a lot, but yesterday. I was about to feel so bad. I was like, I only gave $250 for all this. I'm a bad man. Turns out I'm a good man. Turns out I overpaid. I hate when that happens. See how these turned out. Beautiful. Beautiful. Damp on this one. And damp on this one. So those will be my two winning pucks. Yep. Horn back in there. All right, two more game cubes going in, and then we'll be able to run a big bag. All right. Starto. I've got to change the water filter. I burped. I burped again. One beer, one water. I have to wake up early and go to the bank tomorrow. Burped again. How did those boys go through all the rags in a weekend? Like, I just did laundry. I did it before I left. They would have. They went through all of them. Dang. Oh, gross. He's using his shirt and exposing his fat belly. None of your business. Compound used in the ELM, some residue. Gross. Don't want that. Oh, this machine made a noise. I went to go check on it. As soon as I went back there, it was like, I'll stop. I'll stop making the noise. Like, don't do that to me. It's very stressful. Was this artwork water damaged? It is. That might just be a free game. I'm glad I wasted resources running it. Just finished. Free game. Oh my goodness, someone to talk to. Who is it? The boss of sauce? I'm so alone. So good to see you. I hope all of my speakers didn't blast out. Anyway, the boss of sauce. What a name. Appreciate the jump in. Also, there's a little bit of a lag on my stream. I literally get to stand here, open a beer, and watch myself walk in. Yep, see, I've already got the beer, and yet in real time, I'm watching it happen. But by the time you hear this, it'll have already happened for you. Beerception. It's going good, my dude. So, Sizzling Games has two owners, both wonderful, hardworking people. They're both sexy, bearded gingers. But one of them went out of town for 3 days, celebrate their lady friend's birthday, and that is perfectly fine. But then the other one, we just got back from a con, and there's still some cleanings ups to be doing. So I figured I would do it, complain about it, but at the end of the day, there's nothing to complain about. I'm just catching up on some chores, farming some YouTube watch time, and drinking beer at work. I mean, what else? What else could you? Drinking beer on a Tuesday. Life's not that sad, people. In fact, this is purely recreational, just in case anybody's wondering. And always, I repeat, always in moderation. I agree. Hydration is important. That's counterintuitive, though. Dude. I'm surprised someone has the username Boss of Sauce. Or does YouTube not do like this one is taken? I'm pretty sure Sauce Boss would be taken. Didn't even pay attention to whether or not there was. Next. The next trade we're processing while we wait on the disc machine to change over, which I did, is the Xbox One lot where we got Borderlands, Star Wars Battlefront, Rise of the Tomb Raider, the Lego Movie video game, Lego Jurassic Park, Farming Simulator 15, NBA 2K Playground, and Lego Dimensions. Some of these will sell, some of these will not. But they still go into the inventory, and worst case scenario, eventually list them online. Yeah, I think they get taken as well. So, like, no one else has the boss of sauce. 100%. But you're kind of lucky in that regard. Because out of the, what is it, 8 billion people on the planet, for you to be the one to be like, yes, I'm going to be the boss of sauce. No one else shall have this name. No one else shall be the sauce's boss. Just me. I hope one day you meet Sauce Boss and you're the boss of sauce and you guys just do like the Spider-Man meme. Just like, huh? Because who would truly be the boss of sauce in that situation? And then like the Jarl of Jalapeno comes in and he's like, yo, I'm in on this too. And you're like, not really, yours is abstract. Nobody knows what a Jarl is except for like Skyrim fans. Most people are into habanero nowadays too. Jalapeno just doesn't do it for you. All right. I don't know if I'm in the camera view, but I'm just prepping a stack of discs to go into the disc. Damn, that one has like bona fide poop on it. Good thing it's the World Series of Poker. A lot of game stores, whenever these lower end collections come in, they're like, nah, I don't want it, I don't want it, I don't want it. But listen, somebody out there wants to play Medal of Honor Rising Sun. You know, they played it when it released, whatever year that was. Let me look. All right, couldn't find it, took too much time, but obviously in the early 2000s. You know, there's somebody now that's in their 40s, 30s. They played it and they miss it. And it deserves to have a chance to be bought and sold. It deserves to sit on a store shelf and wait. It'd be so easy to just throw it in the trash. Only worth $5-10. Nobody's asked for it in 5 years. But I think it's very important to give it a shot. Serious Sam's, Super, Auto. Those I'm gonna put that top. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. $30 on the money. Let's sneak these in here too. That one don't need to be around. And that one does. 32. Alright, running back to the disc machine. This one will not finish for an hour and some change. It'll be the last changeover we do for a little bit. Alright. And that will be done by the morning if we choose to go home. But we'll just keep cranking. I have 3 hours until bedtime. Whether or not I choose to go home and watch a movie. The Jarl guy owes you money. You better watch his back. Listen, I hope you get paid. And I hope it's in a currency. You know, you're like, yo, jalapeno, pay up. And he's like, I got ruples. And you're like, why the fuck do you have that currency? Alright, so we had to run these independent because I don't trust our disc machine when it comes to GameCube. And these were the reasons I bought this slot. So in my hands, we have Luigi's Mansion, which is a wonderful GameCube game. And then over here we have Mario Kart Double Dash, also a decent game. Now, I will have mixed opinions on Double Dash because it is far from my favorite Mario Kart. If I ask somebody what's your favorite Mario Kart and they go Double Dash, I'll go shut the fuck up. Okay. Double Dash is a fun game. It was a great game. But in the grand scheme of things, Mario Kart, it is at like the bottom of the list. It hangs out with Super Nintendo Mario Kart, and they're just down there like, hey man, we weren't very innovative. We just kind of rode the wagon. And everybody's like, how can you say that? The graphical jump from 64 to Double Dash. And I'm like, yeah, but mechanic wise, it was kind of gimmicky. So I guess lack of innovation is incorrect. Misdirected innovation. Lack of good innovation, let's say that. And then eventually Mario Kart 8 hit the Wii U. And then they deluxed it up for the Switch. And I mean, let's be honest, even Mario Kart World kind of sucks butt compared to 8 and 8 Deluxe. It's like, yeah, sure, 8 and 8 Deluxe. Yeah, GameCube staples are wonderful. What game have I had in the store the longest? Damn. Let me finish my tangent. Mario Kart 8 and 8 Deluxe, wonderful time. But 64 was it, man. That was a great time. So for me, my favorite Mario Karts are as follows. 8 Deluxe, obvious. 8 follows behind. Mario Kart DS was pretty great. I'd rather play it than Double Dash. For either way, at the bottom is Super Nintendo and Double Dash. Super Nintendo, even though it has a very special place in my heart due to nostalgia reasons, it's just not very good compared to everything else. It's like you can go back in time and you can play Super Metroid, and that is a brilliant experience, even in 2020. Super Mario Kart is not. It's like, whoa, this is ugly and hard on the eye. Find out what is the oldest game in our store. I have a button for. All right, I have it. The oldest video game. Now, let me go and reread this right fast. What game have I had in the store the longest? All right, a lot of them are tied. The store is not very old, this location. But I will tell you. Let me go get it. This is kind of fun. Wait, is this game expensive? It shouldn't be. I'm looking. Well, I have to be able to find it first. It's here. It's here. It says it's in here. Where are you? Wait for it. Wait for it. Getting close. Gotcha. Dang, why was this so hard to find? All right. For no particular reason, it makes no sense at all. Game we've had in our inventory the longest? Creature on PS1. Obviously, when we first did our inventory, there was a lot of games in the pile. That was the first one to get inventoried. And it is from day one of this store. And let me tell you, this was a hard thing to find. I was like, dude, is it missing? Hello, Jim Dad. I see you on the Facebook. Second place was Emperor's New Groove on the PlayStation, Unreal 2 The Awakening, followed by Fusion Frenzy on the Xbox. And why they weren't in any kind of systematic order, I don't know. Probably just pulling games out of a random box. But then I can't help but to notice they start conglomerating into groups, like 836 Wii games, PlayStation 2 games. I wouldn't have expected it either. I imagine if I had sold this, the oldest thing would be like the Emperor's New Groove, and that'd be kind of cool. A David Spade title. Squirrel, 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 squirrel. Squeak, squeak, squeak. Maybe I need to run a special. I don't do sales because like I'm already stupid cheap, and that's not just like chin wagging. Like I am strictly by price charting, and the problem with price charting is that that's an average. With the systems, I betray it a little bit because let's be honest, eBay sales don't really do a good job of filtering out. I don't know why I stuttered so much there. It doesn't do a good job of filtering out broken consoles with aftermarket controllers, broken shit. So I look at GameStop and I look at price charting and I meet somewhere in the middle where I'm cheaper than GameStop, but I'm also not selling, PS5 4321, Xbox Series X, Series S, 360 for broken prices. So, but my consoles are still cheap. For example, I sell Wii's for $85. GameStop and other places sell it for $125, $135. But, if I've got a minty, immaculate copy, I'm not going to raise the price on it. I'm going to stay as close to price charting as I can be. With very few exceptions. If you walk in here and you look at my Super Mario Brothers 3, you'll see that I sell them for an egregious amount over price charting. Why? It's Super Mario Brothers 3 for the regular Nintendo. If you're going to buy a regular Nintendo, you're going to buy Super Mario Brothers 3. And if the label's on there and it's great and it's awesome and it's beautiful, I'm going to charge a premium for it. But there's only like 7 games like that in my inventory. Mario Kart is one of them for the Wii. It goes for like $34 on price charting right now, I think. Could be less, could be more. But I sell it for $40. And if it was 22 something, $23, I'd sell it for $30. Why? Because if you're going to have a Wii, you're going to have Mario Kart Wii. Does that make me a bad person? A little bit. But it's literally like 5 games. Other than that, if you want to get a copy of Resident Evil 3 off of me, right now it's $90 on price charting. It is $90 on my display. And I have beautiful copies. of Resident Evil 3 Nemesis for the PlayStation 1. I could easily get $130, but I choose not to. And that's why we don't do sales. Because there's always a good deal to be found in a sizzling game. All right. Let's do some boring stuff. Well, I mean, that's their business. The downside to it is my percentages that I pay out are also based on price charting. Except for, like, that's something that's crazy. The Mario 3, like, I sell it for $30, which is way over price charting. The percentages that I pay are based on my prices. Now, 90% of the time, it is price charting. But yeah, whenever I buy a Mario 3, I'm not going to tell you, oh, it's only $22 on price charting. I'm going to give you 60% of that. I give you 60% of my markup price. That's how I justify marking it up. I'm not going to pay less for it and sell it for more. I'm going to pay based on what I sell it for. Also, just for fun, my Xbox Series X's are $475 currently. When this last one sells, they'll be $500, but that's still a shit ton cheaper than everywhere else. I sold them for $475 before the price hike, and I'm going to sell them for $500 after the price hike. But the one that's in my display case, I bought before the price hike, so it's immune. I'm walking around like a lunatic now, trying to decide what to do. I got to process everything on this table, this countertop, and then put away my high-end piece. And listen, people can mark up stuff if they want to. It's their stuff. And at the end of the day, basic economics state, something is only worth what someone is willing to pay for it. For example, Creatures is probably on price charting for $8. We round the units to 5, 8 rounds to 10. I've got it on my shelf for $10. And obviously, someone is not willing to pay that. And that's why it's still sitting on my shelf. Has been since day one. Alright. I'm using Lysol with the Oxy action. I used to be able to find it in stores, but I have to buy it off of Amazon. This Lysol is the best thing for cleaning up game cases. Use a light amount of it. It doesn't leave a stinky chemical smell behind. It leaves like a laundry detergent smell. There's no bleach in it. It gets stains off. Now, it's not strong enough to deal with something like cat piss. Cat piss, you'll have to freeze your game. Or use something to neutralize bacterial-based, ammonia-based smells, which is guaranteed to damage a cartridge or artwork. That's why I usually just go free. I shit you not, put it in a brown paper bag, something to keep the frost off of it, make sure there's no moisture on it. throw it in a deep freeze about 3. And these games weren't too gross, they were just dusty. But still, someone walks into the shop and picks up a game. I don't want them to be like, oh, what the fuck is going on here? Or get a new case for it? Yeah, I can only imagine. So there was a family. They weren't too local, but they'd been buying games for decades, man. Like good games, good high end RPG games, games that when you're in this business, you can't say. Okay? Like yeah, and they smell so bad. Like if I walked into a room where I was storing these, and this was over at the other spot too. Uh, yeah, gosh, I can't. My words can't do it justice. And I told them this to their face. I was like, "Hey, listen, tell you have a lot of cats, okay?" And they're like, "How can you tell that?" And I was like, "Well, you might be a little nose blind too, but a lot of your games smell like cat piss." And the lady looked a little embarrassed at first. And I'm just like, "It's okay. It's okay. It happens. Cats like to mark their territory, all that kind of deal." I was like, "But I cannot pay all that great for these." I'm like, "You're still gonna get a couple $1,000s, but this is like bad." I was like, "I'm not trying to embarrass you or get a better deal, but like, trust me, it's bad." I've got like such a good sense of smell too. Like I can smell cockroaches a mile away. Somebody walks in the door with a system, I know I'm not gonna buy it as soon as they walk in the door. And it has nothing to do with what the people look like. It is 1,000%. I can smell it. That's also really bad too, because somebody skips deodorant for a day, and I'm just standing here trying not to breathe. I'm like, and I'm not talking like terrible, horrendous BO. I'm just talking like you're getting a hint that they need a shower. That's the downside to having a super awesome nose, but it comes in handy in a game store. But yeah, had that mountain of cat piss games. And like I said, it was games you couldn't say no to. So I paid this family like 3 grand over 2 trips. And we had a freezer next door, and I knew this trick, but we had to do it like an assembly line. We had all the artworks out. We had all the cases that we weren't going to replace dumped in buckets of Lysol, like and Pine Sol, just like weird amalgamations to get the cases clean. And all the artwork and discs went into brown paper bags and went into a freezer for 3 days. Again, if there's any moisture in there when it freezes, it will damage the discs. It will damage the artwork. So do this at your own risk. But when you know what you're doing, you can freeze that smell away. Like, I wonder what happened to that freezer, because if somebody out in the real world found it, it had all those, just for added bonus, we got like the cat smell diffuser, like you would stick on the wall beside a litter box, like the gelatins. And we had them all up in the freezer. Man, what an adventure that was. And yeah, we put the work in. Got those games sanitized. We got them clean. We got them treated. And we got them sold. We found them new homes. And nobody is none the wiser. And people are like, I don't know if I want to buy pre-owned games now. Some of them might have been cat piss games, but they're 100% clean. Like 100% clean after the fact. And that's the point. Oh yeah, saving them. It'd have been so easy to throw them in the trash. But you put a little effort in, turn it back into product. I try not to do it too much because it is a lot of work. And unfortunately, if it's not like a good box game or a high-end disc game, my first inkling is to throw them away. Or just not buy them. Once in a blue moon, a box game that smells like cat shit or a pile of peat on disc-based games comes in. There's nothing you can do but suck it up. It's the same as a cockroach system. If you're willing to put the work in, you can save a cockroach system. Get it sterilized, sanitized, and get it back in circulation. But what is your time worth? For me to do it, it has to be something rare, like a test console. You know, Funtastic isn't even rare enough. Watermelon Funtastic walks in and it's got cockroaches in it. I'm just like, yeah, take it to someone else and good luck. The one time at Sizzling Games, I bought a cockroach system. I don't even know if I should put this story out there because somebody has it and it's in their home and they'll know, but they also know that it's 1,000,000,000,000,000% clean inside and out with a fresh tank of liquid metal. But it was a PS5 Pro. And this guy called and said he had a PS5 Pro. He was ready to sell it. Local game store didn't seem too interested. Would I take a look at it? The guy came in, shined my little flashlight in it, and I was like, brother, it has house guests. I was like, I really don't want this in my store. So I grabbed a garbage bag and I put it in it. I tied it up. And he was like, dang, I got this on Facebook Marketplace. And I was like, yeah, it's kind of gross. It happens. And he was like, would you give me anything for it? And I was like, no, I wouldn't. And then he looked at me like dead square in my face and said, man, it is a PlayStation Pro. And I said, it is. And I said, and it's a lot of work. And he goes, give me $80. And I said, shit, I'll give you $80. So we took the PlayStation 5 Pro. Luckily, it was cold weather. We sat it outside and let the temperature freeze, which is not good for electronics. So we're gambling right there. $80 gamble. We take it out. We let it frost. So if you ever see a garbage bag sitting outside a game store, there might be a PlayStation 5 Pro in it. You know, you should probably steal it. I'm just kidding, of course. So we sat it outside, let it freeze, and then I have to lay down. Oh, I bought a PC too, but the PC was for me. I was just like, man, this PC's got bugs in it. It's disgusting. Same story. He was like, give me $100. And I was like, well, it is a very nice PC. I will give you $100. So then I have to clear out my warehouse like I'm about to have a sumo tournament. And then I have to put newspapers down and make a big square of newspapers. And then I have to 100% disassemble everything. if there's a chip that's not mounted flush to the board, it has to come off. So it's a huge pain in the ass. Power supplies have to be taken apart. On PC, it's a much bigger deal than the consoles because they will be in power supply, and it takes hours. So then you're at a race against the clock to try and make money. So with the PlayStation 5 Pro, I had 3 hours disassembly, completely cleaning it and putting it back together. I value my time at $55 an hour. So, it is what it is. $165 in time, $80 in investment, $240 buy-in. Pretty good turnaround whenever you sold it. But you have to have the constitution, the diligence, and the patience to, like when I say it's 100% clean, I mean I've been in every nook and cranny. Let no tiny dead nymph of a bug escape my eyeballs. And the PC, it took like 8 hours. So if I bought it to resell it, I would have lost money. I'd have lost so much money on that PC. Because I even disassembled the case it came in. In hindsight, I should have took the components out, threw away the case, and then just built a new piece in a new case. But I was like, I'm in it, I might as well. So I even broke the case down. It looked like a bunch of angle metal and plastic boards sitting in a pile because I 100% disassembled this piece. But you have to, because German cockroaches are super invasive. That is death for a game store. And so everybody wonders why, if we see a bug, we're like, nope, we don't want it. Please take it outside. And you don't say that. If there's customers in the store, you don't go, oh, there's cockroaches. You're disgusting. Get out. You say, like, hey, I'm not interested. There's bugs in it. I probably wouldn't put this in my house, if I were you, if I just got it. That kind of deal. It wasn't that great a PC. It was like an entry level modern PC. It had a 5070 in it, 16 gigs of DDR5. I don't even remember the processor, but I know I've got a bigger one sitting back there to replace it as soon as I get a new power supply. So yeah, I'm not really thrilled with the 50 series graphics cards. Another guy came in with a 4080 Super, which is what I have in my personal computer at home. And I love the 4080 Super. That is like such a good graphics card. I still think it's probably the greatest thing since sliced bread sitting on the market for the easy consumer access. If you've got the money for one, I highly recommend it. But we talked about it on the phone. We negotiated a price. I had him willing to take 70% for what it would cost me to build the piece. I was like, brother, bring it on by. I'm super down. And I even asked him, I was like, any bugs, anything like that? He's like, no, it's super good. He brings it in here. It is full of what is called frass. And frass is a super polite. So if you own a game store, you work in a game store, the word frass will come in handy a lot. Frass is bug shit. At the end of the day, is what it is. It is bug shit. So you can be like, oh, there's too much frass in here for me to be interested. And they'll be like, what's frass? And I'm like, oh, it's residue from living things inside it. So it's a very polite way to get that conversation. But now he brought it in, and it, like I said, this is a gaming piece. This is, what you save up your money and put together. The only thing better than this is like things that use server based components, or like boutique PCs like Falcon Northwest. And there was just so much bug shit in it. I was like, brother, it has too much bug shit in it. But I said frass, not bug shit, for me to want to purchase this computer. And He goes, "What if I knocked $200 off? Would you buy it?" And I was like, "Man, if you knocked $1,000 off, I would buy it." And he looked at me like I was crazier than hell. And I was just like, I know for a fact it takes me about 8 hours to completely disassemble and remove cockroach infestation from a PC. And I was like, there'd be no meat left on the bone after all that effort. And frankly, I just don't enjoy doing it. You know, above all, it is time consuming, it's disgusting, it's complicated to remove cockroaches. It's not like I can go in there with a Swiffer wet mop and just wipe them all out. So we do not make a habit of it. End of the cockroach stories. All right, just checking on my disc machine right fast. It's doing good. It's got about 22 more discs to go. Uh, 7800 XT. Not too familiar with that card. Okay, it's like a 4070. That's not bad. Supposedly it's got better ray tracing. Everyone's so obsessed with that. Dude, I need my fake sunshine to be as realistic as it can get. There's nothing wrong with that. One thing I can swear to you is that I'm not a PC. And I can openly say, without a doubt, that I do not need a 4080 Super. I'm not a maximum graphics pushing kind of guy. I'm like the, hey, my fan speed's getting kind of high and I'm getting scared, so I'm going to turn down the graphics kind of guy. I love these propels. Peach and strawberry kiwi are my favorite. Little corner store I shop at never keeps them in stock though. All right, more work. I got the pacing there for a second, and that's okay. But back to the grind. Here's where it gets boring. Got something stuck in my just enough to get on my nerves. ADD wins. I'm getting a placard. I've been chewing on granola all day, so I had this coming. Got it. Victory. Oh, the propels? Nah, I let them know every time they run out. It takes them like 6 months. All right, let's go. Lego Dimensions is up. Neat. GameStop stickers can stop my butt. For good games, I take them off. For $5 games, I cover them. Four available. Yep. I like watching it go from month to month. I enjoy it. Sometimes shit go down though. No change. Nobody's bought the handsome. People go out and buy the handsome collection. Good. This one's gonna look so bad because I'm not gonna inventory the guitar I got until I get it clean. Oh, this one's gonna look so bad. Hey man, it's good. You invest in good stuff. I didn't think these needed a wipe down too, but while I was handling, got kind of iffy before I put price stickers on them. I'm gonna wipe them down too. They're not too bad, I promise. They're just a little meh. This Rise of the Tomb Raider had like barbecue sauce on it, which, I think Lara Croft would go great with some barbecue sauce. Or some sweet and sour. There's no like tangy vinegars. That would ruin the day. Alright. There's some like bona fide poop on the inside of this case. Try and get it out. Q-tip. Some isopropyl and just there and get whatever that is. This Q-tip is now black. Check the books and all that wonderful good stuff. Make sure it's not vermin residue. I believe it's some kind of food related thing, but either way, it's gone. It's clean. It does not matter what it was because what it is gone. What systems do I collect for? So I have completed Sega Genesis with the exceptions of the hyper rare things like test carts and the one of 5,000 randos many times over. And I'll do it again and I'll keep doing it. But my hobby is to do it for loose cartridges and not for cardboard boxes or clamshells. But I've kind of gotten over the whole completionist vibe my older age. I just love Sega Genesis. So now I buy games that I enjoy playing, keep them around. You know, I do have a couple meme collections. I very much like to collect copies of the Misadventures of Tron Bonne, just because I really, really enjoyed Mega Man Legends PS1. I even played it on 64 just because, a game I enjoy and I wanted to compare the two differences. And it's not even the greatest game franchise in the world, the Legends series for Mega Man, but it's neat. And Legends 1 and 2, they just hit really good at the time that I got them, the age I was, the period in puberty that I went through. Uh, I know a lot of people really want the Misadventures of Trombone, so I make it a habit to at least have 4 copies. At one point in time, I had 8 copies, but I needed some cash way back when, and I was like, "Hey, sell these games." I was messaging a guy today about picking up a 5th copy. Sonic Adventures 1 and 2, I have. Currently, complete, I have 4. It used to be a lot worse. Had the supply in a chokehold. That is not true at all. Yeah, at one point in time, I did have like 8. But I did turn them loose. I think I sold 2 to Jerry Miller of Retro Mansion and let him move them. And then personal collectors, I'll let get a hold of the others. But yeah, I'm almost back up to 5 complete. I've got a good lead on one at a good price. But it's a meme. It's a meme. It's not like I have any ambition to have them all or anything like that. Yeah, but I did have a lot. Just like realistically, whenever this was starting out, I was like, man, I need some extra cash because there's not going to be any money coming in for a while. And that's when I moved a couple copies. And I don't regret it, but it was fun being able to, like, grab at the time $500, $600 games and just kind of fan them out across the table. I know a guy that does it with Little Samson. It's a much more expensive title. And frankly, I don't get it. Like, everyone's like, man, Little Samson's a great game. And it came out at the end of the regular. And I was like, shh, okay, Like, I accept that it's worth money, and I accept why it's worth money. But me personally, I'm just like, I can't do it. Well, now that I'm back in the not worrying about money phase, I'm not your guy. There is one person on this planet. He's a very good collector friend of mine. He's been asking me for one for years, and the next one I buy, I'm just gonna whatever I pay for it. That's what I'm gonna sell it to him for. If I get a good deal on it, he gets a good deal on it, and then after that, I'm buying them up for me. And you know what the shitty part about Tronbon is? It's a good game. Like, I hate it, but I like it at the same time. I hate how much it costs. A lot of things that I enjoy tend to be expensive. The Kiki Kai Kai games, Pocky and Rocky with Becky on the Game Boy Advance, 1 and 2 on the Super Nintendo. At one point in time, I collected multiple copies of that game. Again, for the memes. But then they got so expensive, I was just like, these have to go. Like, with Trombone, I get it. Because I spent like 3 years trying to find a copy of that game. And I finally got one, and it was sealed. And that's the copy I'll never get rid of. And if you talk to anybody that knows me in real life, and they know that I collect trombones, they'll tell you that my plan is to hit retirement age, and I don't care what it's worth, in the next 20 years, probably be like $2,000-$3,000 sealed. I'm gonna open it and I'm gonna play it because that's my copy to play. The first complete copy that I got, not the first one that I played, but the first complete copy that I got that had the back, had the manual, had all that, actually came from Nancy at Two Dudes Gaming. We took it in on trade, and I was like, hey man, I collect these. And I've got like one's missing the bonus disc, one's missing manual, one's missing the back. And he was like, oh, well, I'll sell it to you for half since you got a good deal in it. And I was just like, shit. And then that kind of fanned the flame. So instead of hunting manuals and demo discs to complete the copies that I had, I just started straight up buying sealed copies. And I was like, man, I'm going to be the trombone king of the world. And because it's not my favorite game, it's not even close to being my favorite game. It is a good game, but it just kind of it took off and got away from me. You know, a man works for 2 weeks, he gets $800 for that 2 weeks of work, and I take it and I go buy 1.5 video games. And I was just like, rent's paid, groceries are good for the month, you know, put a little bit of money into savings. What are we going to do with the rest of this? I'm going to go buy a copy of The Misadventures of Trombone and put it on a shelf with the other copies of The Misadventures of Trombone. So when people tell me they're looking for a copy of The Misadventures of Trombone, I can go, oh, you can't have any because I have them all. Also, I eventually, whenever we were at Two Dudes Gaming, I eventually started to get yelled at because I would buy full price, mind you. Like, I didn't do the employee discount. I was just like, it's a great game, just let me buy it. I bought every copy of Sonic Adventures 1 and 2 that came into the building. And then I stopped buying the 2s because they got, like, rather expensive comparatively. But I still bought the 1s. And I had, like, a bookshelf with all my anime figures, and it was just full from one side to the other with Sonic Adventures, which isn't even my favorite Sonic. I just know that if somebody's going to buy a Dreamcast, they're going to want a copy of Sonic Adventures. So, Persona 2 for the PS1, you know, I don't think I've seen a Persona 2 for the PS1 since we've started this store. Let me Google the front art just to make sure. I've had everything else. Yeah, not a single 2. That's exactly the cover art. See, I'm not a Persona guy at all. Dark, twisted gameplay. I mean, it's not bad. It's like almost up there with Trombone at the moment. And I doubt you will. How many copies were printed? Not publicly disclosed. Anywhere from 50,000 to 80,000 units. That's kind of shitty not to put that data out there. But, you know, Atlas do as Atlas does. I've seen copies in the wild. Gotta look at this CIB scale though. I think the last time I saw it, it was about $300. So probably during the pandemic, sometime based on this histogram. Well, do you want my advice? Get your priorities taken care of. Put $50 in a little pile every week, and then after about 6 weeks goes by, add the rest to it, and go out and buy you a copy. Don't do anything dumb like get it graded or something like that. That's what people tell me to do with my sealed games, but I promise you, I'm going to open all of them. If I didn't buy it to resell it, it's sealed and it's in my collection, I'm going to open it. I live for that. I got a copy of Anna for PS1 sealed. It was like, let me check the histogram. Internet's moving a little slow. I'm not that scattered brain. I'm waiting on the actual data so I can tell. Oh, yes, it was like 170 when I picked it up. New sealed. I opened it. Now, don't let expensive video games be your dream. It sucks that they're expensive. At the same time, it's like if you just contribute just a small amount towards it and don't get distracted, eventually that small amount becomes smaller, 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 smaller. And then you're close enough to your goal that you can just give up a portion of a check where you don't have too many obligations one weekend and then go and pick it up. Like every game in my collection that's expensive, I've never had the luxury of just being like, oh, this expensive thing, I'll have it now. You know, I've always had the prep and plan to make it happen, minus the few that were given to me. And then I have been lucky enough to end up in like the crackhead situation a couple of times. Where somebody's like, "Here's a $500 game. Give me $50 now," and I'm like, "Are you sure?" And they're like, "Yes," and I'm like, "Okay." But I don't fall in love with stuff. I fall in love with the idea of stuff. The having the multiple copies of Sonic Adventure for the Dreamcast, not Adventure Battle for the GameCube, just the Dreamcast. It's because I love the Dreamcast. Sonic's cool and everything as a franchise, but I don't really trust Sonic fans all that much. You fucked up whenever you're like, "Hey, well, I see you like Sonic. What's your favorite video game?" And they're like, "Video game." I'm like, "Please don't touch me, or breathe on me, or look at me, or share your thoughts with me, you disgusting person." But the Dreamcast is just part of my favorite franchise, which is Sega, and it's my favorite franchise because of the Genesis. Had I known about the Master System when I was small and played like games like uh, The Vanishing Omen Wise 1 on the Master System back in the day, I know that 5-year-old me would have loved it. But 5-year-old me didn't get to know it, didn't get to experience it until I was a teenager. But I think I know 5-year-old me well enough to where the Master System would have beat the Nintendo for me. But I just didn't know it existed. There wasn't enough media for it, enough commercials. But yeah, all of my heavies are me. There is not a single expensive game outside of like even Musha. I don't care about it. It's not important to me. Probably the most expensive game that I care about that I have, like, is a game of games, like a game of all time. Super Metroid. I wouldn't give up my copy of Super Metroid for anything. And when I bought Super Metroid, it was $20. Okay, and I played it once, didn't really get it figured out, and didn't screw with it. Uh, this is not a childhood game for me. This is a game that I picked up in the process of becoming an adult. And then I was old. I was 32 at the time. Make sure I'm not lying. 20. Yeah, I was 32 at the time when I first played Super Metroid all the way through. And I liked it, and people were coming in. But it was on Twitch, Justin TV. I can't remember if it had swapped over time. I think it was Twitch at the time. And yeah, people were like, "Man, you should like check out like speed running for this game." And I was just like, "Man, this game is so much fun, the mechanics, the movements." And then I got into manipulating it and, not glitches, not cheating, but just getting really good at piloting Samus. And so I would say out of the games that I love, Super Metroid is probably the most expensive, and I think it's currently $90 loose, X amount of money, whatever. The winner would be Pocky and Rocky, except for I did sell every copy that I have of that game. I went through a phase, but it's my favorite shmup. But shmup is not my favorite genre, so I don't know. It's a very hard conversation to have. My favorite game of all time is Sonic Adventure 2. Sonic Adventure 2. Sonic the Hedgehog 2. I just told a blatant lie. And Sonic the Hedgehog 2, Final Answer on the Sega Genesis, is my most favorite game of all time. But it is a $10 game at best. So, like, out of the stuff that's worth money, Super Metroid. And it would be Pocky and Rocky, but I think I enjoy playing Super Metroid more than I do Pocky and Rocky. But that might change tomorrow. Other games I enjoy. Yeah, they're all cheap. I guess I'm just a basic bitch. Onimusha 1 or Warlords for the PS2, Genma on the Xbox. Do you? I know it's basic. No, if you enjoy Pokemon Emerald, my friend, then you enjoy Pokemon Emerald. That tells me that I might be a little older. Not trying to do any context clues or anything like that. But I bet you this handful of discs done in the disc machine. And if I open the door very strategically, I can steal them, process this next trade. I think I'm going to try that right. I loved Pokemon when it first came out. The base set of Pokemon cards will always be very special to me. Pokemon Blue and Red will always be very special to me. But by the time Yellow was a thing, I didn't care anymore. And I will remember my time with Pokemon very fondly. But I grew out of it very fast. I was Team Digimon. Like, when it comes to the animes, Pokemon versus Digimon, I enjoyed Digimon so much more. And I get that it's so much dumber, but just the concept of being whisked away, it's an isekai, technically. You get whisked away to a crazy world, you go on this crazy adventure, and there's all kinds of timey-wimey stuff. Versus, I'm 12 and I'm going to be the best Pokemon trainer that ever was. Pokemon just did not steal my heart for life. And I mean, to me, it's like being a Disney adult. It's a perfectly fine thing to do, no judgment. But, it takes a very special type of person. And I mean, like, genuinely special, not, disrespectfully, to maintain that love forever. Even when Pokemon Go came out, I joined in on the hype because it was the original 151 Pokemon. And I hunted Pokemon and we went to bars and we did all kinds of crazy stuff. But as soon as Gen 2 came out in Pokemon Go, I'm like, the exact same thing. It was an exact same repeat from my childhood. I'm like, well, I'm just not that interested anymore. I do like copies of Emerald, though. They got a good price tag. And I'm in a business to admire that. Gen 1 gave me Growlithe and Arcanine. Gen 2 gave me Handour and Houndoom, which is a perfectly okay thing. That's just because I like dogs. I trust cat people a little less than dog people. A little less. Alright, I'm gonna leave my microphone up here. I'm gonna run to the restroom. I'm gonna steal some discs out of the disc machine so we can process the next trade in. Alright, I'm back. Looks like I got replaced. You know, if I had enough free time, one day I would try one of those games. But you know, my most favorite game past 5 years probably Lies of P. I wasn't even that big into this the FromSoft games, like games. Then I played Lies of P. I was just like, man, this is fantastic. But I wish I would have played Sekiro first, because when I played Sekiro, it's a parry based game. It was inferior to Lies of P. I was a little let down. However, I know that if I would have played Sekiro before I played Lies of P, I would have enjoyed it. And I did enjoy it, just less. I guess you could. But no, for me, a game can be many things. I beat the first Turtles game when I was 7 years old, but I played it for like 2 years before I finally got a clear on it. And that's a lot of time to dedicate to playing like a game that short. Like as an adult, it'd probably taken me like 5 days to acclimate, get used to the punishment of the game. Both the Zeldas back in the day. And it was the defeat used to drive me. Now if I get defeated by a game, I'm like, man, what is wrong with me? Like, what am I doing wrong? You know, I try to stay away from Google the best I can. And usually I got a pretty good success rate of playing games with no beta whatsoever. But once in a blue moon, I'm just like, yeah, I have no idea what's going on. Probably old age. As far as shooters go, I was super into Halo 3, Halo 2. Never really did branch into Call of Duty at all, except for zombies. I never got into Gears of War multiplayer, but I did play through 1 through 4 games. I enjoyed the story. But I think for me, the games that like top on my list, like what I think are the great games, are the games that require good piloting. That's why my favorite franchise, I told you uh my favorite game is Sonic the Hedgehog 2, and that's purely nostalgia. But my favorite franchise is Monster. Like I really do love combat that requires good piloting. The more input required from me determines success or failure, the more I enjoy. And the more difficult it is, like the more people that get filtered out by a game, the more I try to be good. So, the FromSoft game, Liza P, another Crab's Treasure without cheats, stuff like that, really into because I love doing it good. The Demon of Hatred in Sekiro took me, I think it was a ridiculously low number. It was like 7 or 8 attempts. I finally got it, but I had no beta. I had never played it before. And when I played through Sekiro, I was like, man, this game gives you 2 life bars. That's kind of weak. So if I died one time, I restarted. I didn't use both life bars. If I used 1 life bar in Sekiro, I was like, well, I died. Even though the shtick of the game is you get revived and you get another life bar, like shadows die twice. That's the point of the game. But I didn't let myself have the second life. I played it all on stream. That was a difficult time, but yeah, it took me a ridiculously low number of attempts to figure out the demon. That's just my ability whenever it comes to games. I love difficult platformers. I love figuring out puzzles. So, what is a game? Was the question that started this tangent before. Oh no, it's just something you have fun doing, I guess. But for me, something that requires me. Like, I can't say I don't enjoy mindless games because, like, dude, there's picture matching games like Busy Town from Richard Scarry. I bought it because it requires the Sega mouse. Uh, yeah, it's a good time, and I can waste hours just looking the pictures, listening to the silly little cartoony music in that game. All right, see. Maybe it's because I'm an old man, but when you say, "Did I ever play Prime?" Is there like, where's the comma? Is it like Battlefront 4? The prime time of that? Not quite sure what you're at. And I have been drinking. Not a whole lot, but I have been drinking. Do forget. But I've never played Battlefront 4. if that's what we're talking about. Or 1. Big mega shooters were never my thing. Like I said, I played 3 and 2 for Halo, Gears of War. Never stepped into Call of Duty, Battlefield. And as far as like the games with the running and jumping and like that, like uh, Apex, or anything like that, definitely not my speed. Sorry, I'm trying to find the pile of disc. You guys ever play Monster Hunter? Any Monster Hunter? Whether it was on the DS, the Wii U, Wii. NFL Street. Medal of Honor Rising, good game. HEB Off-Road Fury. Drive to the boundary, get thrown a billion yards back into the map. MLB Slugfest. There is a baseball game on the Atari 600. And it has no autonomous movement in it. It is 100% analog. You know, if you just wanted to run around the bases, 4 points with no punishment whatsoever, you could. It was entirely up to you to adhere to the rules of baseball whenever you play. And I thought that was brilliant. So it had to be multiplayer, unless you wanted to try and play both sides at the same time, which sounds really. But I just like to think about that game sometimes and think just how far we've come in gaming, where it required the honesty of 2 individuals to adhere to the rules of a sport while playing the game digitally. Keep your own score. I can only imagine the fights that took place. Mom, he ran to home plate even though the pitcher had the ball. He ran straight through. And all these discs turned out really good. I have no complaints. But apparently I stacked them backwards because it wasn't the ones I wanted. You played the 3DS ones? Hell yeah. I keep Generations and Try my desk. in case somebody brings in a 3DS that needs to be tested. And yes, I'll confess, I usually waste about 20 minutes of my day running through a quest or two. I'm like, yeah, it's good. It's good. I had to make sure the old joystick worked. What are you doing? I'm doing intense testing, checking the graphics, making sure the audio is good. All right, I gotta wait on it to move to the next disc, and then I'm gonna steal another pile of discs. So the fuse box in my back room says microwave. The fridge, the dressing room light, none of that stuff exists anymore. But I use it for context to assume which outlet it's talking about. Ghost of businesses past. All right, my friends, it's about time to put away the expensive games. Ratchet and Clank going commando. All right, my dudes. Man, I know this stream has to be boring as shit, but I appreciate you guys hanging out and getting me the watch time. Normally, I'm playing a game whenever I'm streaming, but I just had too much work to do to play a game. We're at Luxasia and Liza P. We're doing a virgin playthrough on the store's Steam account. I've never played the prequel, the DLC content, but I've decided I wanted to do 2 playthroughs of the game before I did the bonus content. So on the first playthrough, I'm going to go through and defeat the nameless puppet, and then when I make it to Aladoro, second play, I'm going to get the amulet that makes you immune to status effects. And on the second playthrough, I'm going to go for the bad ending. I'm going to give Geppetto my heart. He's going to turn everybody into puppets. It's going to be really sad. But I'm going to do it for the achievement. But I'm going for the best ending on the first playthrough, which is the Rise of P. But the caveat to this playthrough is that I have upgraded Vitality 2 points. I have built a glass cannon. I hit relatively hard, but I die if a fly farts on me. And it has been challenging. It has taken me like a crap ton of attempts to do certain things. Dude, I have new growth from some of my plants. That's cool. Need some water. But... Dude, I have new growth on a lot of plants. What a... You're watered. Cactuses are difficult to water. Getting a lot of water. There's also copies of Sonic 2 in these plants and a copy of Mortal Kombat 2 for Genesis. I don't think it helps the plants grow or anything weird like that. I'm just letting you know now. They're dead cartridges, and instead of throwing them in the trash can, I'm using them as the core in my jungle. I've got a little aloe plant. I've got a medley over here. It's a pothos plant. It's a bunch of aloe, pine, and I'm kind of like observing the relationship that the three different uh, plant have with each other. And so far, it's going pretty good. I don't have a green thumb at all. A very good friend of mine trusted me with both of those plants. I'm just like, I will do. Pod Zombies Easter eggs. I'm not a big Call of Duty guy. The only zombies that I've ever played was World at War. And I mean, I'm lying a little bit. I did try Black Ops 2 zombies. I think it was Black Ops 2 or 3. I can't remember. It was just too involved. Like the learning curve to figure out where everything was for something like a horde game like zombies. I was like, yeah, I'm not interested. Oh. Let me put my tablecloths away. My convention going tablecloths. I'm gonna set them here. I don't know where Justin likes to. That's in his domain. I try not to go in his domain. He stays out of my space. I stay out of his. Oh my goodness, my guys, this is a brick of pure Colombian Game Boy games in alphabetical order. And now you know my secret. That's how I traveled to conventions with cartridges. I put them in a bag and wrap them up tight. Here's my advanced cartridges. You can tell from the green that there's a Pokemon hiding in there. Guitar Hero for the DS. All right. Battletoads we picked up at the show for Genesis. Biker Mice from Mars. So I might be a shithead and keep this for myself. I fucking loved Biker Mice from Mars, the cartoon growing up. And this game is such a cash grab. As much as I'd like to keep it for myself, we'll probably sell it. Sometimes you have to have that internal fight. Oh damn, yeah, it's going for $100. Apparently, there was a PlayStation 2 game I didn't know about. So tempted to try it. All right, let's put this guitar in the to be clean section. So I do have a camera for my warehouse as well. I know I keep disappearing from the camera, and I did have it set up where it would cycle back and forth depending on where I was. But we had to have some repairs done back there to a wall. So unfortunately, that camera is currently dangling and pointing at the floor. I didn't know it was $100 either. I thought that it was more like $60, but damn, you know, it would be a cool little thing. I would be accused of bandwagoning if I took it. But to be fair, I do have all the Biker Mice from Mars action figures at home on a shelf. I love Ninja Turtles, Street Sharks, and Biker Mice from Mars. Everything else is just an honorable mention to my childhood. Mummy's Alive, it was cool, but it didn't stick with me. SWAT Cats, Samurai Pizza Cats, same story. I think I'll have one more beer and then cut myself off. Now, disclaimer to anybody watching the stream. I live 2 blocks away. This is my fourth beer in 5 hours. But even still, I will be choosing to walk home. Because why risk it? Yeah, we're fine. We could probably drive 100 miles if we wanted to. But at the same time, you're not supposed to drive when you have alcohol. And while I do think that I'm probably going to be well within the legal limit by the time I leave, I'm still better safe than sorry by using my, you know, super cool and green Converse shoes to get me to where I need to be. That's another perk of living in a small town. I can walk home at 3 o'clock in the morning and it'd be perfectly okay. If I lived in Detroit, that probably wouldn't be the case. Oh, this lid, don't do it. Guys, this is my Sony Wega. It's a front projection TV. I have two of them, one at my home, one here. I almost had three, but the lady on Facebook Marketplace is asking 200, which would be a reasonable price if it was in good shape, but it had a scratch like this. Literally, look at my hands. Scratch all across the lens. on the front of that TV. And I said, hey, your TV is damaged. What is the cheapest price you would take for it? And she goes, I'm asking 200. That's the price. Pay it or don't. And I said, I'm going to choose don't because it's in rough shape. I'm going to choose don't because you're kind of being a bitch. And I'm going to choose don't because you're insane. Is that enough reasons for why I'm not going to buy your TV, and I hope no one else does? And did I need to be that mean? The answer is no. But that just kind of set me off whenever she was like, how dare you ask me about my ass? And I did come to her and I was like, hey, I'm interested in your TV. It's probably going to be a part scenario to keep the two that I have going. And she's just really rude about it. So I made sure I was like, hey, I think you kind of suck. You know, it's like, why are you so shitty? And I guarantee you she didn't sell that TV. She probably ended up giving it away because 200 is about the average asking price for a flawless one. I mean, back in the day, they were like $5,000. But it is not back in the day. It is 2026, my dudes. But yeah, I got two of these things. I got one in my bedroom at home. And our friend Derek over at Two Dudes Gaming actually found this one. He was like, you guys should probably get on this if you want to get TV. And I was like, dude, I collect these. Hell yeah. So we went to go pick it up. It was a super cool dude. It was in his garage. And he was like, I was going to throw it away, but I didn't want to throw it away. And I was like, I'm glad you didn't. And I'll tell you, we paid $40, I think, for that TV. And while we were there, we gave him $50 for the table that it's sitting on. And we bought some other stuff, but I can't remember what it was. He had tons of NASCAR collectabilia. And just not really into it. But any cool little thing he had, we did make an offer on. He said no to a lot of stuff. We did get the TV for super cheap. She deserved it. Some people on Marketplace are just crazy. Thank you guys. Thank you. I love that you're backing up my bad decision. There's never an excuse to be ugly to somebody, but I just kind of wish that she would have been like, well, it is damaged. What are you offering? And I'd have been like, I'll give you like $80, which is too much. It's too much money, but I'm a nice person. I'm terrified that I'm going to wake up like something is going to be wrong with either one of the Wegas. Because I can fix the CRT. I'm good. But I don't even know if this is a 3 bulb, 1 bulb, if they're bulbs in oil. I know nothing about the Wega front projection. I know zero about it. I just know that I like them, and every time I find one for sale, I buy them. But yeah, I have no skills. I could learn, guarantee you, but I have no skills. So I would really like to have a couple dead units just sitting somewhere that I could steal parts from just in case, to keep these things going for the next 15. I've got a Zenith System 3 sitting in the back. When I get time, that's the next CRT I'm going to fix. And I got a Winnie the Pooh TV also that I need to fix. But working on CRTs is dangerous. I will not stream it. I will not show people how to do it. I will not tell people how to do it. Because the tube of a CRT can store up to like thousands upon thousands of volts. You take that charge, it is going to stop your heart and you're going to die. Like, unless somebody finds you and does CPR and hits you with the paddles, you are going to be a goner. And I will not be responsible for someone being brave enough to work on a first time. There's plenty of YouTubers out there to ruin your life. I will not be one of them. Justin Fogelsong, co-owner of Sizzling Games, his younger brother Jonas is getting into working on CRT. And I will show him some stuff, but not everything. And when I teach him, I talk to him like he's a 5-year-old. Because, like, guys, I can't stress enough, working on CRT is dangerous. Until you figure out how to discharge flyback and the tube, and you know they're discharged 100%, like you know how to read a meter. It is risky. That being said, don't let your dreams be dreams. If you want to work on CRTs, learn. Discharging a tube is not difficult. You literally take the diode partially out of the back, you ground it with a very well insulated tool. I have a set of leads that clips. I clip it to a metal shelf, I clip it to the diode, and I wait, and then I hit it with a meter. And when I get a 0 reading, then I know it's safe to do anything I want to do with either the flyback or the tube itself. So if I need to make a yoke adjustment, and even though I know all this, I promise you, I get shocked at least twice working on CRT. I just don't take a tube discharge. Tube discharge is what'll kill you. You know, if I accidentally bridge something on the board and blow a fuse and zap myself, that play choice 10 over there, it got me like 5 times whenever I was redoing the Easy 20 CRT that's inside it. But all minor shocks, that's okay. It's more like pss, ow, pss, ow, pss, ow. And I know better. I'm putting my hands in places it shouldn't be. I know better. But I don't risk screwing with the tube for the flyback. Like I said, they carry enough voltage to take you out. Observe my body. Anytime you're messing with a flyback or near a flyback or near the anode to the tube, place this hand in your back pocket if you're right-handed, and then work with your right hand. That's probably the best advice you can give somebody working on a CRT, because if you take a dump, it'll travel straight through to your ass cheek. Hopefully not straight across, resonate. You'll end up burned on your back, burned on your hand, but you won't end up, stopping your heart. No guarantees, but it could help. As dumb as it sounds, it could save your life to keep your hand in your back pocket while you're working on a CRT. But it's really not scary. It's really not that difficult. Just make sure there's no excess charges where they don't need to be, and then swap out any components you need to swap out. Plug it back in, test it. If you don't get your desired result, discharge it again, try again. Troubleshoot a different area. Like right now, the Winnie the Pooh TV that I have back there, there is something failing temperature. When it operates for a certain period of time, the protection circuit goes off and it shuts down, which means there is a resistor or transistor somewhere that's accumulating too much heat. So that eliminates so many systems that I know are good, and I can narrow it down to certain systems. That makes sense. Diagnostic process simplified when you know what the failure is. But I still have to go in there and hunt which piece is bad. So I have to have it live out of the chassis, operating where I can see it, and then I have to hunt the failure, which means the whole thing is live. The tube has a store, the flyback has a store, and it could be dangerous. So I know that there's like certain danger zones that I don't need to touch, or certain systems that I don't need to screw with while it's live. And there's other ways to isolate problems. For example, a hair dryer. I could sit there with a hair dryer, try to overheat certain sections of the board faster and get the failure to happen at a faster rate as opposed to letting it operate. And if I can force a failure, then that puts me in the right spot where I need to look. There's all kinds of tricks to it, tips to it, and stuff I've picked up over 25 years of working on CRTs. But at the same time, if you're a beginner, find a me to hang out with while you do it, or above all, learn how to discharge the tube and fly back and the B plus cap, if I'm being honest with you. Other people say no, but I say yeah, because it's probably got a pretty hefty charge in it too. Then do your, sounds too scary for your blood. It's not bad, I promise. When you get used to it, it's not bad. And that was my tangent on CRT repairs. I watched a video of an old Appalachian guy talking about edible plants. Unfortunately, it shows my age, but I knew everything that he revealed in that video, but I loved the way he worded it. He was like talking about like the pawpaw. It spoils super fast. It bruises if you look at it. But the trees that produce the sweet fruit, the fruit that you can make bread out of, the people that know that or know what to look for are almost gone. And it's just going to be a weird creek bush that people don't really think about or even think that it's edible. Look at it. That's the same thing with CRT repair. Eventually, it's going to be a foreign subject, and there's not going to be people left that know what they're looking at whenever something does go wrong. So I'm kind of glad that so many people are getting into it. And honestly, the amount of people that have died from working on a TV is very low. But the risk is not zero. So I always say educate yourself the best. The people in the know are going away. So it would be really cool if a lot of people, a lot of young people got into, learning how to set a yoke or adjust for purity. And you want to know the universe's basic truth? Half the time, a capacitor or two, they've leaked, they've popped, they've swelled, and they're not managing power the way that they. And capacitors cost like 25 cents. You just have to get in there, know how to spot the one that's bad, look for the signs, look for swelling, look for leaking, then just swap out like 2 or 3 50-cent parts and usually the TV. It's not always that simple. You got to be able to know what the symptoms are, help you know whether that's the case or not. But it's really not hard. And then figuring out how to get into a service menu to adjust the geometries once you change the part out, make sure everything's running how it should, is super simple. It is not difficult. The soldering is entry level soldering. So without learning everything, you could learn enough in a handful of hours to like fix 90% of the dead TV. But, and this is the big but, learn how to discharge the TV so you don't kill yourself. Even if it's been inactive for a week, there could still be enough juice stored in the, where if you took a raw discharge of that energy, it could stop your heart. So, learn how to discharge it, and then after that, the repairs are usually simple, 90%. End of my CRT rant. But if you like old video games, you gotta love CRTs. If you love CRTs, gotta love working on them. And that's the end of CRT talk from Grandpa Will. Alright, let's look at all my expensive toys. Starting with Sega Genesis. We have Phantasy Star 2, Gunstar Heroes, Golden Axe 2, Risky Woods. I'm going to play that before I sell it. Quackshot, Michael Jackson's Moonwalker, complete in fucking box with the manual. I hate it, but it's actually a good game. If you've never played Moonwalker before, get you a copy. I recommend buying a loose copy. The fact The fact that this box and manual adds so much value to this game is upsetting. Like, the word is upsetting. He is the king of pop. I personally think he was innocent. I think he upsetted the people with the small hats, and they ruined him, drove him to his premature demise. Dungeons and Dragons, Warriors of the Eternal Sun. Not a bad game, RPG style game, but not my favorite. My favorite Dungeons and Dragons is a hidden object game, I guess would be the description of it. Contra Hardcore. Now, I've had this copy of Contra Hardcore for a minute. I'm going to be really sad when it sells because once in a blue moon, I love sticking it in the Genesis and giving it a good playthrough. Outrun 2019. This game has no business being $40. It's part of a popular franchise. Superman Genesis complete in clamshell. It is what it is. It is not as bad as Superman 64, but it's not a great game either. Sunsoft did their best there. I have fond memories playing it. But if it never existed, my life would be the exact same. Sword of Vermilion. I recommend everybody plays it at least once. If you're into Final Fantasy, you will definitely be into Sword of Vermilion. Just have a little bit of patience. And thus concludes my expensive Genesis. However, there are a few loose carts in here that cost even more than the clamshells. Except for Michael Jackson. I have Zero, the Kamikaze Squirrel. And then Skeleton Crew. With a video update from... This is actually kind of dope. So this is 224th Street in Meriden. Graham, Washington, 98338. Let's find out what year they went out of business. Bold of me to assume they went out of business, but I'm going to. You think he's been cleared, but that's just you? I agree 1,000%. So, listen, Macaulay Culkin is not a saint. He reclused himself from Hollywood, of course. He aged mediocrely. I'm not disrespecting the man. He was a very talented child actor. I mean, just think about everything he did. Richie Rich, Home Alone, my boy was in some movies, okay? The Page Master being one of my greatest films favorites of all time with Christopher Lloyd. Not my favorite Christopher Lloyd film, which would be Camp Nowhere, also having Ariana Grande, oddly enough, was in that fucking movie. But Michael Jackson, King of Pop, do I think he was sane? No. Do I think he was a pedo? Also no. I think Michael Jackson's goal, based on the words of Macaulay Culkin, was to protect the youth from what happened to him at the end of the day. And Macaulay Culkin said it back, Max said it best. He said, yes, tons of children slept in his bedroom, but his bedroom was also the size of, shopping mall. Like, there was enough room in his bedroom for everybody to have their own room, and it was multiple stories on Neverland Ranch. I could be wrong. He could have been a monster. He could have been a monster, but I don't think he was. I just think he pissed off people in power by not subjugating to saying hateful things in some of his songs. And they took him out. I do. I think they took him out. I try not to get political in the story on my streams, but I do. I think I think they took him out for not playing ball. Unlike Zuckerberg, owner of Facebook, huge cunt and everything he does. Personal. Like tomorrow, they could be like, Mark Zuckerberg was killed by a bull. It was intimate and romantic, and then he gored him to death with his horns. And I'd be like, he deserved worse. But I'm streaming on Facebook. The hypocrisy is not lost on me. I didn't intend to mute, but my shit did die. It's probably going to die again soon, so I'll probably have to end the stream soon. But man, I don't know when my microphone's off. I wish I did know, 100%, because I was reading into this old company, the video update, and it's a company that was bankrupt and defunct by 2000, and the franchise survived until 2012. But talking about how beautiful it was, I have the game here, East Tennessee, that was once in Graham, Washington, Pacific Ocean. Now it's 6 hours away from the Atlantic Ocean. I mean, it was part of a video rental store. God knows how many homes this game made it to in Washington. In the video up was the name of the. I was saying that it says warning if tape is tampered with, customer must purchase. Well, I definitely tampered with the tape. I had to take it apart and clean it. All right, here we are. We're back in the main room. All right, guys. The chest microphone died that we were using, so we're gonna have to charge these buggers again for the next one. Luckily, I've got a little 3-prong adapter here. So normally I have a backup chest mic. So this guy takes power from the PC, and then these two microphones I go through. Except for I only had one of them charged, so it died. I still have a little bit more work to do, but let's be honest, I've been slack assing for the past 3 hours anyway. So it'll probably be good for me to end the stream so I can like focus and get this stuff done so I can get home. We have to open bright and early at 11 a.m. tomorrow. We're open 11 to 7. SizzlingGames.com is open 24 hours a day. You just got to wait for us to get in here and get access to it. I'm going to get these microphones charged, and we'll be back tomorrow night with another fish tank stream where I try to get caught up on all of the things that we purchased and bought for the past couple days. Did the camera not show up on the stream? Hold on, wait for it, wait for it, wait for it. Yeah, there we are. I was like, I don't see me. But sizzlinggames.com, all the games are on there. If you need a system, just message us, reach out to us. And hopefully the next time we stream, we'll be back here in the game room playing a game. But odds are we will be doing more work. 'Cause it's going to take about 2 days for me to get caught up on everything. We spent about $1,000 today on some good stuff. A small bit of not so good stuff. We've got about $2,000 worth of Pokemon cards that'll be cycling back into the inventory soon. Stay tuned for photos on those. And if you want to keep up to date with the things that we buy, follow us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok. We don't do Twitter or X. We don't do X. It's not that we don't think it's lucrative. We're just we're maxed out, you know? Like there's only so much we could do. There's only so many hours in the day. And I don't have time for everybody that disagrees with me over one of my game opinions, to come after me and try and start an argument on the X, if you will. But we're going to end stream now. Remember, like, subscribe, share, comment is the big one. The more you engage with my stuff, the more it gets bumped in the algorithm, and the more money I make from social media, the more money I spend on cool games to buy and have at good prices to sell locally in the Tri-Cities or at sizzlinggames.com. Every penny that I make from social media will either go into advertising the social media or purchasing games. That's not going into my bank account. It's not going into Justin's bank account. It's not going into our personal funds. It's going into making the store better. So if you engage with us on social media, it helps us make the store better. It helps us get products for you to buy, to order. And the more money we have, the more leverage we have in a negotiation, which means the cheaper we can get it, the cheaper we'll make it for you to buy. I know that sounds terrible, but it really is true. If you walk into a store and you have $1,000 and you're like, hey man, what's the best rate I can get for $1,000? They might be like, oh, I'll give you a little discount. If you walk into a store with $10,000 and you're like, man, I'll spend $10,000 as long as the rate's good. If you give me $15,000 worth of stuff for $10K, I'll do it today. They'll say yes to it. Terrible, but that's how this business is. And the more often we're able to do that, then the more often we're able to provide games at a lower than typical cost for the public. So you want us to get rich. You want us to be successful. Why? We're batting for you, my dude. Like, we're in this business to make money, but we're not greedy. We're not trying to be billionaires, We're just trying to make sure that we don't have to worry about where our next meal's coming from. And a lot of people lose sight of what's important. And what's important to us is keeping these old games alive, keeping these old games in circulation, keeping the conversation of the warp whistle relevant. As much as I hate seeing 20-year-old acne faced, himbos be like, hey, did you know if you duck behind this white block, you can go behind here and get a warp whistle? But I also love it at the same time because it helps keep the culture alive. Yeah. Help us succeed, and I promise we will help keep retro gaming relevant. I'm not going to promise you a museum, like that one guy whose name I won't drop took all that money and did nothing with it. But we will continue to provide good games at good prices. And all we ask is that you like our shit, comment on it, share it with a friend, build our social media. We have a free source of income, contribute to growing this. We have 6 figures. Think about that. 6 figures. 7 figures is in the millions, but we have 6 figures in video games. All online, all preserved, all clean, all ready to go to homes. And we want to make it 7 figures. We want to make it 8 figures, If I ever have $10 million worth of video games to distribute to the public, I'm going to be like, dude, I'm gonna be like Paul from the Bible. I'm not very religious, but I'm gonna quote the guy. I'm gonna be like, I fought the good fight, man. The race is won. I did victory. Got to keep it alive, especially with Sony giving up physical and going to digital. I strongly think they're going to back out of that decision the same way Xbox did with their tail between their legs. But they're going all digital. You know, we got to do our part. We got to keep physical media relevant. So yeah, the least you could do in helping us win this battle is share our content, like, and subscribe. All right, guys, I'm going to go process a couple more trades, run a couple more discs, and I'm going to go home and crash. Thank you for hanging out with me this stream. Thank you for participating in Sizzling Games as a whole. And I'll see you guys another day.